everyone, welcome to episode 11 of Quarantine Cuisine. I'm your host Michael here. We've had some really decadent meals over the last few days, so we thought we'd lighten it up tonight. And we're going to do a steamed fish with soya and ginger tonight. And our fish, ordinarily I'd like to do a Chilean sea bass or a Alaskan black cod with this, but we don't have that in the house tonight. We have some beautiful halibut that we're going to use. But I also want to acknowledge where we buy our fish from. It's a company called seafoodcrate.com. And we get a subscription service to deliver our fish order right to our house with whatever frequency we want, once a week, once a month, whatever, or just an ad hoc order we want to place. But the fish is always amazing. It's from the waters to your door is kind of their motto. So every time the fish comes, it's all portioned 7 ounce, 200 grams, which is fantastic. So tonight we're going to do this fish. We're going to steam it with soya, with ginger, a couple of other things we're going to put inside. We're going to serve this over in a bowl with some jasmine rice on the bottom and a broth. So we look forward to enjoying a very light meal tonight. So let's start cooking. So the first thing we're going to do tonight is our vegetable prep for this beautiful steamed fish dish. And it's really just 4 ingredients we're going to have tonight. So first we're going to start with some mushrooms. Now ordinarily it would be really nice if we had some shiitake mushrooms or some oyster mushrooms, but we don't have the benefit of having that in the house tonight. So we're going to use some good old creminis. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to slice these in half and then just slice these up thinly. We have a number of these mushrooms here, so I'm going to slice them up. This will go in the broth, can add a really nice texture to the dish after. I'm not sure how many of these I'm going to do. I'm going to do probably 6 or 7 or whatever. There's 3 of us eating, so. Now the mushrooms I did clean up. Ordinarily I would just brush them to get the dirt off, but if I'm frying them up, but because they're going into a broth, I just decided I was going to, clean them off with some water, get all the grit off them. Nothing worse than having some grit when you're having some type of a broth. Okay, so I think we're good with our mushrooms. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these into our bowl here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice up some onion. So again, it would be nice if we had a sweeter onion, but we have a white onion tonight. So all I want to be able to do is, I'm going to actually slice this one in half like this. So I have a quarter of an onion, about half an onion of what I'm doing here. A white onion, I'm just going to slice this very, very thin slices. This will go in. Okay, that's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and put this in with our mushrooms as well. Everything's going to go into the pot all at once. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my attention over to this device that we introduced the other day called a mandolin. And the mandolin is great for being able to slice things up. So the first thing I want to do is really just slice our cabbage. The other night I did it by knife, but I just didn't get it as thin as I wanted to. So all I'm going to do is just get this kind of sliced up very nicely. See, I don't think that's going to be thick enough, so I'm actually just going to make this just a little bit bigger in terms of the size. That's perfect right there. Okay, good. And you continue back, just make a slight little adjustment here. We don't want it too thick, but it just didn't seem like this was slicing very well. I'm going to make sure so we get about maybe half a cup or so of cabbage there. I think we're in pretty good shape there. We have about enough cabbage there, about half a cup of cabbage already done. Okay, perfect, good. I'm just going to move this to the side for a minute. We're going to clean this up a little bit, put this in our bowl as well. And then the last vegetable we're going to prepare is a carrot. So one other little part I'm going to put in here is we do have our horizontal slicing here, but I'm going to add this little vertical slicer to it as well. This way we get some beautiful julienne carrots. So we're going to take our carrot. I'm just going to go carefully again, make sure I can get some julienne carrots here on the board. Probably about 3/4 of this will be nice. Just add a little bit of color, a little bit of crunch, a little bit of texture to this dish. Okay, I think we're good there as well. So there's our carrots done as well. So what we have here is we have our mushrooms we sliced up. We've got a good amount of carrot in here as well. We've got our cabbage done. Our vegetable prep is finished. Okay, what's great about a meal like this is prep is very simple, and actually the cooking is very simple as well, which I really enjoy of a lot of the meals that we prepare, not just the heavy or more complicated meals. So tonight we're going to put the following ingredients into a Dutch oven. It's an ironclad, just our regular ironclad Dutch oven versus the enamel one we've been using. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put 4 tablespoons of sake into this pot here. But I don't have sake, so it's all I'm using is a dry white wine. We have to substitute some ingredients that we have that we don't have tonight. And I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of soy sauce in here as well. So we're going to put that into this pot as well to mix it up. And then 1.5 tablespoons of mirin, but we don't have mirin as well. So I'm going to do a bit of a combination. It's a substitute hack that I have here. So it's going to be 1.5 tablespoons of Marsala wine. Then I'm also going to put 1 teaspoon of rice wine vinegar in here as well. Then I'm going to add to this as well 1/2 teaspoon of fish sauce. This is pretty intense, so I don't want to put too much fish sauce in here. And there's all our wet ingredients in. So I'm just going to turn this up. We're going to bring this to a bit of a boil if we could. Shouldn't take too long because there's not a lot of liquid in here. We'll also add into this about 1.5 cups of water. So this becomes kind of a broth for our fish. It's going to steam the fish and for our vegetables. So as you can see, this will come up very nicely. I'm going to turn the flame up pretty good here. See if we can get a good boil on this. Actually, there's 2 things to add to our prep tonight for vegetables. You know, a dish like this wouldn't be a soy ginger steamed fish if we didn't have ginger. So the one important ingredient we left off our vegetable prep was some ginger. So what I've been able to prepare is about a 2-inch stalk of ginger, and this is julienne, very, very thin. That's going to go in a minute with the vegetables as well. And the only other vegetable that we're going to add in that we didn't discuss earlier was a little bit of spinach. This kind of adds some color, adds a little bit of texture to the dish as well, so that'll go in. I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Take a few minutes here just to come up. Okay, so our broth is coming up to a nice boil here. And this is the point where I'm going to add in our vegetables first. So I'll add we have our onions, our carrots, as well as the mushroom and the cabbage that we sliced up very nicely. So I'm going to add that in. Let that simmer on the bottom here very nicely. Get that all mixed up. My executive producer pointed out something I said earlier, which is we don't have, well, as much as I like to call this our ironclad ware, it's actually called all clad. Anyways, a little bit of an error on air there, so you know. And now I'm going to add in our ginger. So that might be just a little much, but I'm going to add in about that much of the ginger. That's going to go in here as well. I'm going to add in our spinach. Yeah, I got the flame up in pretty good still. Pretty good, trying to get this all back up to kind of a reasonably boiling level. I'm going to just put a little bit of black pepper in here just to season a little bit. I'm not going to put any salt because with the soy sauce in here, I think it adds enough salt to what we have here. Okay, just going to let that come up very nicely. I'm going to add about another 3/4 cup of water to this as well. If you could smell this, it just smells absolutely amazing. Nice and fresh, and doesn't smell like fried chicken and waffles, that's for sure. But a nice light meal tonight. But while this is coming up to a boil, I just want to talk about the halibut. So the halibut, rather than keeping it in whole pieces as we've had, what I'm doing is I cut them into like each piece into 3 pieces. These are all portioned out at 200 grams or 7 ounces each. So it's just nice, and given the way we're going to prepare, or way we're going to serve this actually and plate it, rather than having one big piece of fish, we thought it would be really nice to cook up and steam like this. So I am going to put just a little bit of seasoning on the fish itself. Always nice to be able to season your protein before it goes into cook. So we're just waiting for our broth to come back up the boil here. Okay, so this is starting to come up the boil. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab our halibut. I'm going to place that right on top of the vegetables. So I'm going to just arrange this as evenly as I can around the vegetables here, all the pieces. Okay, that's perfect. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to reduce this heat down to simmer. I'm going to cover this, and we're going to let this just steam very nicely in these beautiful vegetables and flavors for about 10 minutes, and then we'll be back to the plate right after we talk about our wine pairing. Okay, so our wine pairing for tonight. Of course, we're going to select a white wine with a fish like this. And our wine tonight is a 2018 wine by Zanato Vineyards. It's a Lugana San Benedetto. Actually hails from the Veneto region of Italy, northern Italy. It's actually based on the Trebbiano grape. This wine kind of has some flavors of mineral and some honey. It does have some fruit and citrus in it, a little bit more minerally like stone, for example. But I think just given the flavors that we have here tonight, ideally I'd serve a sake, for example, with a wine, with a meal like this, but we don't have sake tonight. So we're gonna pick our best wine we have left in our cellar, which is this beautiful 2018 San Benedetto by the estate of Zanato. So that's our wine pairing for tonight. Okay, so we've been simmering this beautiful dish of steamed halibut over this amazing broth. Now it's ready to plate. We just cooked the fish about 8 or 10 minutes until it was opaque. We just don't want to overcook it. We don't want to make sure it's undercooked either. We just want to make sure it's opaque and it's nice and tender and flaky. So we prepared in advance some jasmine rice. So first thing I'm going to do is put a generous helping of jasmine rice in the bottom of the bowl here. And then ladle some of this amazing sauce, broth rather, in the bowl. So just going to make sure we get our broth ladled nicely into the bowl with the ginger. Oh man, it just smells delectable. Wish we have enough broth to go inside here as well. Oh, that looks just amazing right there. So a little more broth I think would be good. And then we're going to place a couple pieces of fish. I did mention that these were 7-ounce portions that came from our good friends at Seafood Crate. I did put them into 3 different slices, so I'm going to 3 different portions rather. So I'm just going to put 3 pieces on the plate here, or in the bowl rather. We're not going to the plate tonight. The only other thing I'm going to do at the end, I'm just going to finish this with a little bit of sesame oil just over top. So just going to drizzle a bit on here. Don't want to put too much, just a couple little dabs on here. It is quite an intense flavor. So there you have it. We have steamed halibut with soya and ginger in a beautiful broth with spinach, carrots, and some cabbage and onions, and then some served over a bowl with some rice inside of it as well. So we're all ready to go eat.